out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It is a Monday here on the program where it's 9 degrees outside of the
He's got the scoop.
outside of the Family Fencing Studios. 9.
Calling plays like a coach. Every word
9.
From the courts to the fields.
Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line
Play by play.
or on the Professional Incorporated text line. Chat room. Not really a line, it's more of a room. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. You know it's bad when we get excited, or at least I get excited when I see that by noon today it's supposed to hit 20 degrees. When you see that it's going to be 20 at noon and you go, yeah, all right. You know it's cold. My goodness. So had the Radford game yesterday. We played at 2:30, and you go in. It's already cold, right? But then when you come out, that Arctic air had really just consumed the area. And, boy, going out was a brand-new body experience. By the way, how about Dennis Parker Jr. for Radford yesterday? He made national headlines because he scored 53 points. The all-time, not only Radford University's single-game record, but the all-time Big South single-game scoring record. 53 points. He was 19 of 24 from the field and 10 of 16 from three. Crazy. David says it's 4 degrees on the other side of Little River. Yeah, man. No doubt, Derek. Heat check. He kept taking the heat check, and he kept passing it. 53 points, man. That's Doug Day had the old record of 42. Of course, Doug Day was a three-point shooting marksman, and Dennis had 41, and then he hit a three, which was apropos to break the record. Then he just kept going. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hey, Knicks fan. Hey, Steven. Everybody, David, Prometheus. Balboa Creed has not been we've not been able to do the draining yet. It's not quite there. You can kind of tell. It's just kind of staying stagnant. It's not spreading wide, but it's not where it needs to be. So he hasn't been great, and I hate it. And if it stays like it is, where I don't think I can get in there and do much with it, I may just have to take him because they may have to go a little deeper, and I don't want to risk that. So I'll keep you posted. Thanks for asking. Prometheus says on days like today, yeah, I bet you do wish you had a different career being outside. That's tough, brother. But hey, we're all warm inside here as we try to ignore this weather for a few more hours before it actually feels like human temperatures a little bit. From Phil Elmo's Comfy Perch, he'll join us today in Myrtle Beach to Watson's Cozy Basin. Well, it's a little brisk down here. In Old Route 8 and now Morris Palm Coast. We are live and online. Hey, Opal, how are you? Hope you had a good weekend as well. A lot of stuff. I mean, it was weird. We've gone through college football and there wasn't a whole lot on this weekend at all. Yeah. Exactly, Prometheus. That's right. So that's what I was saying. So you get to lunchtime today and you're going to drive out. It's going to be 20 degrees and you're going to think, yeah, all right, I can take off my second coat. We had one horrible bowl game. Did you see how empty it was? I tell you, the bowl system is dead. College football has done this to themselves, the people who run it, the greed. We've talked about it so many times ad nauseum, but the bowl system is completely dead. Completely dead. Absolutely. Nobody at the Washington-Boise State game. Washington killed them. I don't know how many opt-outs do. This could be the last year of it. We'll see. We'll see. Because sponsors aren't going to get their money's worth and people aren't going. Yeah, I saw that this morning. I didn't know that about Rob Reiner. Yeah, so Rob Reiner, the director, actor, he was Meathead in All in the Family. Very controversial politically, very outspoken, a guy who absolutely hated everything about Donald Trump. They found him and his wife apparently stabbed to death in their home, and they think it's the son, or I guess they've arrested the son. Is that what I read, Opal? That's awful. That's just terrible. I mean, he directed and wrote one of my he had help, but directed one of my all-time favorite movies. This is Spinal Tap. So, yeah, I don't know all the story. I guess we'll find out more today, but apparently the son stabbed them in their home. Just terrible news, man. Awful, just awful. I think I read the son had drug addiction problems and Rob Reiner had really gone out of his way to help him. Man, that's just, you wake up to something like that, you're just like, what in the world? Terrible, just terrible. Terrible news. Terrible news to wake up to, no doubt about it, Opal, 100%. It is the son, Paul says. Drugs. He was homeless a couple times. David says, hang in, everybody. It's supposed to be 49 degrees on Wednesday. Get the shorts back out. Yeah. It's almost T-shirt weather. Don't like the way, we're not even officially winter. I don't know why. Is it the calendar officially starts on the 21st? Or not? I don't know how that works anymore. When does winter officially start? It's already started. We know it's already started. We know because we walk outside. He hasn't been arrested yet, but he's being accused of it. Okay. All right. Well, I would say that's probably what's going to happen. Who else would do that, right? Somebody that has horrible news. Arby Navy game delivered. It was great. It was outstanding. Got to watch every play of it. Wasn't going to watch anything else. 17-16 Navy wins. Hey, all you Navy folks in chat, congratulations. Got a big dub. Anchors away. The spirit of it, the pregame pageantry, and then the postgame pageantry with the singing of the songs. It had all the feels to it that you wanted. And thank God CBS still has the Army-Navy game. That's what I just kept thinking. So glad that was on CBS and not on ESPN. They'd have turned it in some kind of anti-American show, I'm sure. Leave it to Disney. I just kept thinking, I'm so glad we've got Nestler and Danielson calling the Army-Navy game. Yeah, it was. It was warmer at the Broncos game. Warmer in Denver on December the 14th than it is here in Southwest Virginia. Yeah, and that's the thing. I was sitting there thinking, Morris, I hate where we are in this country. The hatred, political hatred to me is just stupid. I'll never understand it. It's okay if however you feel and however you vote, it's your choice to do whatever the hell you want to do. But to actively hate the other side and not want to have a discussion and to immediately try to put somebody in a category. I was sitting there thinking, well, this is what the country's supposed to be about, watching that game. I was the same way, man. I was just like, we're never going to get back to it. There's just too much. And there's too many sides that are pulling us in every direction. And that's what's sad. Too many folks actively working to pull Americans apart from each other. And everybody just falls for it. Everybody just believes their own propaganda. They can't open their eyes and understand that they're being fed what they want to hear. And so it just breeds more disdain. It's just sad. It's so sad. But that game, you forget about that when you're watching that game and those young people. You really do. Really do. Morris says, I hug my mom and wife every time. Yeah, it's good stuff. Agreed, Morris. Opal says it's 6, but it feels like -6. What do we have here outside of the family fencing studios? Let me see. I've been so depressed to look at the got 9. That's Radford. Where's Reiner? Reiner is 9. 9. But when I get out of here at 8:30, it's supposed to be at 11. Watch out. Hey, Joseph, thanks for asking. It was okay. No, yeah, once you got out toward through Dublin and toward Wytheville, it wasn't bad. Roads were not bad. There were some wind gusts. Now, if you've been to Wise, and I know you have, Joseph, and UVA Wise is right on top of the mountain. Like you were at the highest peak. It's really cool. Prometheus, it's 4 in Pearisburg, -1. All right. Speaking of Pearisburg, tomorrow is Marty and Rags from 7 to 8. Marty Smith and Steve Ragsdale tomorrow, presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. That's tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that in hour 2. And I kept thinking about Coach Rags watching the Army-Navy game. Gary Danielson was referencing the single wing throughout that broadcast. And I thought that was really cool. And I kept thinking, yeah, there's some Giles plays there. There's some Coach Ragsdale plays. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, tomorrow with Coach Rags and Marty. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a heck of a lot of fun. But yeah, Wise is on top of a mountain. It's really, really cool how it's, the roads there. If you've been, you've got to focus and you're just doing this. By the way, no bad driving guy on the roads up to Wise because they understand you can't be hugging over the line. And it happened again last night. I don't understand. If you've been on Meadow Creek Road, if you're coming from Radford, you go into Reiner, and most of the time I will go that route because I like to go by the cattle fields and so forth. And it's the second bridge before you go around the big turn to get to the four-way stop sign. If you've been on that road, you know where I'm talking about. And it's a thin bridge. There's enough room there on the bridge to get by. First of all, I don't know why some people will stop in the middle of the road and let the car coming on the other side by. I'm like, they didn't eliminate a lane. Yeah, it's tight, but you've got room. You don't have to stop suddenly and cause people maybe to ram into you. But that's not what this version of bad driving guy was about. What it was some joker in a truck is like coming around the turn to where that bridge sits. And he's halfway again. He's over the line, and I'm the next guy. And I hate being one of those people that has to stop, but I had no choice. I had to stop before I got to the bridge because he's just almost 3/4 over it's crazy. I don't understand it. Somebody has to explain it to me. Why people are driving that way, I don't know. I was not very happy, and I let him know about it too. By the way, he was on his phone. Like you could tell he was looking down. He was just like, what are we doing? Thunder says the funny part is by Wednesday, you'll see people in Florida that look like they are in the Iditarod with temperatures in the 50s. That's right. And so when we travel with Radford Hoops and we go down to like Charleston, South Carolina in February, you'll go down there, just like you said, Thunder, and it'll be 50, 55, 60 degrees, and everybody will be all bundled up. And we get down there from Radford, and we're like, oh, man, this is shorts weather. It's cold. Or when they come up to Radford, when they've made the trip, even if it's 40, 45 degrees outside in February, they're like, whoa, how do you stand this? And we're just like, yeah, not that big a deal. We love it. Well, we don't love it, but we're used to it. Morris says, holy crap, growing up, I used to feed cattle in the farm and that wind would whistle down. Yeah. Growing up the same way, this was not, in mornings like this, it wouldn't have mattered. You're still out there taking care of the animals. I mean, yeah, we'd have been out there. Opal says, please tell me you say moo-moo cows as you pass by the cow fields. No, I don't believe I say moo-moo cows because they're not cows. They're cattle. Some may very well be cows, but they're cattle. We don't like the misrepresentation when you grew up on the farm. It's head of cattle. Now, if you have a dairy farm, then you have cows. But cows in the field are the only ones who are cows in the field are the ones who have a baby. The rest are either bulls, steers, or heifers, not cows. But that's great, Opal. I'd like to hear you say that sometime. That would be cute. Hey, Wayne, what's going on? Bad driving guy in winter is the best. 4-wheel driver and truck or SUV who feels they're invincible. Yeah. And I'm telling you, as a guy who's had a 4-wheel drive and SUV most of his adult life, the most people I see in trouble are people driving SUVs because of what Wayne just said. I don't understand it. Look, nothing's going to get you around on ice. Nothing. Doesn't matter what you drive. You're not going anywhere on ice. And there's been a lot of black ice, and that's really dangerous because a lot of times it just blends into the pavement. You got to really watch for it and know what you're looking for. You're going to slide on that every time. Opal says, I did not know that. You learn something every day. Yeah. Cattle, not cows. Now, if you're going by a dairy farm, Holsteins, Guernseys, whatever they might be, then yeah, those are cows. Cutting to the skid. Correct. No, not Moo Moo cattle, Wayne. Dave says, the jackass in the truck have one of those LED light bars across the front grill? Oh, I know. What is up with that? It lights up 50 yards in front of them. Yeah, and you get blinded at night. Rodney says, morning, Rick. I'm glad you have to tell people the difference from cows and cattle. Yeah. Remember, a female bovine in the field without young, or who isn't with child, is a heifer, not a cow. And you can always spot the bull, especially in an Angus field, because he's the one that usually is standing by himself looking all badass like, I won. We used to have this massive Angus bull, man. Dad named him Samuel, called him Sam, and we had him a long time, and he was that guy. He was that guy. Thunder says the best names are ribeye and brisket. Well, yeah. Morris says that was fun driving in the snow. Black ice was the equalizer for all of us that thought that. Yeah, it is horrible. Black ice is horrible. My grandfather told me legs were shorter on one side of cows when standing on the side of the hill. Pretty funny. There you go. Rodney, no. Rodney still has cattle. Yeah, your Angus, yeah. He stands right by himself. Exactly. He just stands. When you see one, he's fine. He's usually the one looking out over the road. Matter of fact, let me show you. It's not that we're on this subject. He's right here on my phone. Look. He's on my screen. Look. That's one that I pass every day. Now, he's a younger one. Can you see him? Oh, what in the holy hell happened? Okay. There we go. There you go. Yeah. He was the way. And I stopped because there's nobody around. I took a picture of him because he reminded me of Sam, the one that the main bull that we had for a lot of years growing up. Yeah. See, look at that. See how things work out here? People don't realize that something that heavy, by the way, can be as athletic as they are. So if you're trying to get them into pen, if you're trying to get them out of the field, you're trying to get some in to treat them, give them their shots, whatever it might be. If they decide they're not going to go there, there's not a whole lot you can do to stop it. Yeah, exactly. He's just telling people. What he's saying is, yeah, I was challenged. I kicked everybody's ass. These ladies in the field are mine. They're the ones that come to me. I'm the winner. And he just sits there and he kind of just chews his cud, or he's not. He's just staring at you like, yeah, what am I going to do today? You see him, by the way, he's not on Meadow Creek. He is actually when I go down Fairview Church, and that's the way I usually go to work every morning. I don't get back on Meadow Creek, but I usually go down Fairview Church, if those of you know, and those are beautiful fields. Beautiful. And he's down there when you come down the hill past the bridge that they had to expand last year. He's the one on the side of the road on the left. If you're going toward Raft, if you're coming back, he's on the right. You had the old bull now, stepbrothers. Yeah. I remember my granddad in castration. Yeah. Do that when they're young. Yeah, that's not fun. That wasn't fun. Ever take any gals out in high school snipe hunting? No. That is the time to run, Morris. Yeah. Thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. You know what? I know Jason Green and those guys, they would even be out today to come by and give you an estimate or get your fence started. Even when it's 9, they'll work through the winter for you. Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic. I got to get Mark and Travis Williams their T-shirts today. Mark is the best. Go see him. He's got the latest of everything. Everything. And you need to go see him. Thanks to Tim Miller, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. We had a good time talking to him about everything. I don't know, man. And I saw Jonathan Sweet yesterday at the Radford game. Those guys are they're all so happy. They're just so positive, even when they're not even promoting anything. It's awesome. Thanks to them for being the presenting sponsor of the program. They're the best. Been telling you about Little River Heating and Air. All right, I had somebody yesterday at the Radford game. Who's those folks you talk about? Because I'm not sure my heat unit's working. This happened yesterday at the Radford, or before the Radford game. And I said, Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 540-553-2971. Call. Just go see them. They're right on Radford Road. And I think he's going to get a customer today or tomorrow because it's cold. That's what I've been trying to tell you. By the way, it's great knowing that I had these new units and what they did last year when I came home and it was destroyed. Now I don't have to come. I used to worry. I knew my units were getting on up there anyway. So the good Lord did me a favor when mine got struck by lightning last February. When does it lightning in February? But anyway, that happened and we're all fixed and ready to go. Let's see here. Thanks to the attorney Ryan Pride in Radford, BDST Fan Question of the Week, 701 West Main Street in Radford. He was at the Glenver game. Glenver fell to Strasburg in the state championship. Great year for the Highlanders. It jumped out 12-0, and I was getting updates. Travis Williams was watching the game from Professional Door, and I knew they were in trouble when that great defense and Strasburg scored 21 straight points. And then Glenver scored. It was 21-19 at halftime. You think, okay. And then I think the next update he showed me was 42-19. I'm like, ugh. Strasburg is really, really good. Really, really good. But, hey, I know it's tough when you lose a state championship game, but congratulations. Glenver had just a remarkable year. Region champs. Thanks to Larry Ramsey, National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of yours truly and this program. They are awesome. Absolutely awesome. Mentioned Travis Williams. It's Professional Door Incorporated, residential and commercial garage doors. And people have reached out and go up there and get that taken care of before the spring. If you've got an old door or one that's not working. And congratulations to everybody who's got new jobs who went up there and heard us talking about it. You're going to have a great, great career. It's awesome. Ready, Set, Fun, ReadySetFun.com. Go see Mr. Christ. Bob Christ is terrific. BobChrist11@gmail.com. They have text messages ready for you to help your organization, your sports team, earn the money they want. Wow. Strasburg rushed for 370 yards. And that will do it every time, man. In these playoff games, it just feels like that happens so often. One team will just go absolutely nuts running the football. And then usually it's a team that out of whatever region's not used to giving up that kind of acreage, and then they can't recover. Give the NRV Super Bowl a call, 382-5525. Ask for Amanda or Terry. They have opened up NRV Nightlife. That started this past weekend from 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. They call it the Neoverse. They have new light glow in the dark bowling. I think we all need to get over there and do that. Let's go. I'm down. Thanks to James Lawson, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, 540-381-8011. They've manufactured home parts for windows, doors, plumbing for almost 30 years, 28 years. And thanks to Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon, 4377 Lee Highway in Pulaski. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up for that as well. We have them $20 here if I can get them to you locally. $20. And thanks to everybody at the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Today, Phil Elmassian and Todd Grantham join us. And we always enjoy that. Always. Hey there. Speaking of Phil, another Philip on the text line. Did I hear you talking about somebody score 53? Yes. Dennis Parker Jr. broke the Big South single game scoring record yesterday, 53 points for the Highlanders as they beat Coppin State. Now, Coppin State is not good. Out of 365 teams ranked in the net rankings, they're 364. But I don't care. When you put down 53, you're doing something. And the thing about it, he wasn't just taking selfish shots. I mean, he just wasn't covered very often, but he was just letting the thing flow. He had 8 rebounds too, a couple assists. Just madness, man. 53 points. Blew my mind yesterday. Did Oscar Smith win? Okay, they beat they won again? Yeah. Oscar Smith is a dynasty. They provided a lot of collegiate talent over the years. Congratulations to the Chiefs for not making the playoffs. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't do that. Hang on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, believe it or not, Dennis Parker Jr. scored 53 points yesterday for the Highlanders.
Oh my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
Thanks for producing the program, Wayne. I wish I had a producer. That would have been taken care of by the producer. Yeah, Chiefs not in the playoffs. But I really hate hearing about, well, there were two just devastating injuries. I'm sure Chris Collinsworth and Tony Romo are just beside themselves that the Chiefs are out of the postseason. Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL late in that game yesterday. So that means he's going to be done for about half of the next season too. He won't be able just to come back that quickly. So I hate to hear that. As a Bronco lifer, I hate the Chiefs, the dynasty, what the league has done to help them. But I hate to hear that. And then Micah Parsons he got juked by Bo Nix, and he tried to cut back, and his leg, you can just see it, his knee just exploded. And that was on grass too. Just shows you the fine line, right, to staying healthy and injuries. I hate to see that. That's terrible. I have no love lost at all for anything at all, Chiefs, but I hate to see, especially a guy who's a megastar. Both of those guys are megastars. Tear their ACLs. It sucks. I know it's part of the game, but it sucks. It really does. Finns play the Steelers. Yeah, Miami's playing themselves back in here. They've taken advantage of a weak schedule, and watch out. Get some momentum. You never know. Yeah, I would think Kelsey's done. He looks like he's been done all year. He's looked terrible. The Taylor Swift effect. Yeah, he hasn't been good. I would say he's out the door. And that'll be good because I'm sick of him probably more than I am Mahomes. Yeah, you know what? For me, that's you're right. Those bodies out there are like race cars. When you go that hard, your parts eventually break. Yeah. Every play is so intense. And I hate it, doesn't it seem like every time you see something and you think you see the guy grabbing his knee, you never hardly hear, oh, he's okay now. He's gone to the blue tent and he's coming back out and he's going to be okay. It's always the worst case scenario. Feels like it's always the worst case scenario. It's never he just twisted it. He's going to get a shot. He's going to be okay. No, he's done. He's done. Yeah, Wayne, Opal mentioned that earlier about Rob Reiner. It's terrible news. Terrible news. I mean, he directed Spinal Tap. I didn't like his stance on hating half of America, but hated, that's just god-awful news. And apparently his son is who stabbed him and his wife to death last night. Just terrible. Yeah, and the speed of it, yeah. That game is so fast. The NFL game is so fast. But yeah, and I'm telling you, for me, it's tied into it. And I'm going to ask Coach Elmo and Todd Grantham. We got two great coaches coming on today. This whole thing that the Players Association begged for, right, or insisted upon in bargaining agreements about lack of contact in practice, cutting down on practices. I have absolutely no doubt that it has led to the influx of a lot of these injuries. There's 100%. You can't be good at football unless you're practicing football. And nothing at all is going to prevent these injuries. But they don't hit. They have limited contact time. I'm in shorts today. What is it, the first 2 weeks of training camp in shorts? Let's put the pads on today. They make a big deal about putting the pads on. Hell, Pulaski County, we put the pads on day one. But, like Old Man River. Yeah, what is that? By the way, yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up, Joseph. So Phillip Rivers, look, first of all, if he wants to do it, I have no problem with doing it. 45 years old. He comes back. He's got 10 kids at home. He probably needed to get out of the house. He didn't need the money. He doesn't need the money. He even said that this isn't about money. I just wanted to, they came to me. It's an organization he finished his career with. He has a lot of respect for the people in the Colts organization. Started the game yesterday at Seattle, who's been on a tear, has a really good defense. And he didn't tear it up, but I think he threw for almost 150 yards and a touchdown, and they almost won. He rallied the Colts down the field. They kicked a long field goal, but then their defense couldn't hold. And then Seattle, Myers kicked a 56-yarder or whatever to win it. But how about Phillip Rivers? Does that just show you the sorry state of the NFL in a lot of ways? First of all, lack of quarterback development, that the Colts had to rely on a guy who's been retired for almost 5 full years, right? Whatever it is, 4 years. Been sitting on his couch, been dealing with more kid stuff, that he can come into the game, his first game with 3 practices, and start for that team and nearly get a win in one of the toughest places to play in all the NFL, that environment up in Seattle. It really speaks loudly of the sorry state of the National Football League. First of all, with the lack of quarterback development. Secondly, that a guy can actually come in and almost lead his team to victory straight from his couch. Kudos to him, not criticizing him at all, but it just shows you what we've been talking about. Again, your eyes don't lie to you. And when you watch games, you can see the difference and how the quality of play has fallen off. Agreed, Opal. Celebrities just of all walks of life, no matter what they believe, just need to shut the hell up about their politics. Don't want to hear. And you know what's ruined it is social media. They can't stay off social media. They have their own accounts. That didn't used to be a thing back in the day. We didn't care what people, we never heard about it. Didn't matter. Now they have to make sure they try to influence everybody. Oh, yeah. And if you don't think like them, you're a bad person. See, this is what I'm talking about. Just entertain us. You're stupid actors. Back in the Roman days, actors were looked like as the lowest form of society. You're adult pretenders. You're pretending to be something you're not. Someone is telling you what to say at all times, where to stand, which camera to look into, what kind of emotion to emit. You don't have a lot of pull with real people. Sorry. I know you're rich beyond your wildest imagination, and most of you, actually all of you, live in the not real world because you don't have to, because of all the things you have, the money you have. but just entertain. And that's what Disney's gotten away from. And it goes back to BlackRock and Vanguard. Now, pop culture has always been used to influence, right? It's always been used. It was probably more subtle and not so much of a hammer over the head, but with you 100%, Opal. But see, regardless of that, it's just an unspeakable tragedy to get that news this morning about Rob Reiner. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, the weight they're carrying, absolutely, Prometheus. It's your body's not going to hold up, even if it's muscle and you've conditioned yourself. At some point, you're going to have a breakdown. Crazy. Phillip Rivers had a better quarterback rating yesterday than Shadur Sanders. Well, to be fair, I had a better quarterback rating calling the Radford game and Dennis Parker's 53 points than Shadur Sanders. I think they brought that up during the Browns broadcast yesterday of the game at Philly. See, Joseph, second-string quarterbacks aren't as good as a 45-year-old out of retire. Exactly. Where's the quarterback development? I don't get it. Don't get it. Oh, was he the director on A Few Good Men? I just know he made one of my all-time favorite movies, and this is Spinal Tap. And he was Meathead. He is Meathead from All in the Family. I need to see that again. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. That may have been Jack Nicholson at his best. In that movie, yeah. Absolutely. But, Opal brought that up, and Wayne, and I got up this morning. I didn't know. I crashed out pretty hard last night. I was tired. And I usually don't get on the phone in the evenings. I just put it away, kind of clear my head. And I watched the end of the Broncos-Packers game. Got in from Radford, missed the first quarter of the game. And then I ate a little bit, sat there, turned on the Sunday night game, which was a terrible matchup. Cowboys, who lost, by the way, again. Minnesota beat them. And then I was out. So then I get up and see all this on X. I'm like, what? Is that made up? And I'm reading it, and it's unbelievable. What a tragedy, man. It's terrible. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about it as, the day and the week goes on. But everybody knows Rob Reiner. No matter what you thought about him, no matter the things that he said and the choices that he made, attacking people, which he did. Everybody knows who Rob Reiner is. And that's just terrible. Princess Bride is a good movie. Yeah. Very good movie. Stand By Me was a good movie. I didn't like Misery as much as other people, but it's good. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, Princess Bride is very good. But yeah, it's terrible. And we're going to hear more things that it's going to be very, very hard to listen to, I'm sure, coming out. Very, very difficult to listen to. About why this happened and what went into it. Things that none of us want to hear. Yeah, the NFL's in a bad state when a 45-year-old's better than you. Think about that was an option that they actively pursued. Because I think they lost, first of all, Daniel Jones. And then their backup wasn't good enough, or maybe he'd gotten hurt too. I think he'd gotten hurt too. So what do they have to do? They couldn't go around the league and even get anybody to come and leave a practice squad who wanted to leave the practice squad to be their quarterback. This was a team at one point that had the best record in the AFC. And now they have to go out, and Phillip Rivers makes a call or two, or maybe they made a call to him. You guys treated me great as I was headed out, and I'd like to come back and help you. And sure enough, he practices for a few days, and he's the starter on Sunday in Seattle. If that's not a damning indictment of the NFL, I don't know what is. And again, I'm not criticizing Phillip Rivers at all. I think it's great that he's wanted to do it. See, I'm not one of these guys. I used to get into debates with a lot of people on the initial run of the radio show when people would say, oh, they're destroying their legacy if they come back. Why don't they retire? Competitors of that level, they're not wired like the rest of us. We don't have any right to tell Willie Mays or Michael Jordan or Joe Montana, pick a player to say, hey, he needs to go ahead and retire. What gives us the audacity to tell these guys who aren't the same as us that they need to step? If they want to keep playing and they can do it, you think it's going to ruin? You think Joe Montana hurt his legacy? He actually played really well with the Chiefs. He's probably not the best example, but you think Michael Jordan ruined his legacy when he went to the Wizards? Or Willie Mays down the stretch? Pick one. Their legacy has already been made. Their Hall of Fame career in a lot of cases. If they want to keep playing, they can keep playing. Most of them aren't doing it for the money. They've got something inside of them. And Phillip Rivers finally succumbed to that. He's like, man, I feel like I could go out there. I wasn't quite done. Okay. Whatever. But people are like, man, why is he doing that? I bring this up because there was a bunch of people. What about his Hall of Fame legacy? Who cares? Because now he's not eligible again for, you think he cares? All right, yeah, so, Wayne, I saw that too. I didn't get that last night. So, John Cena, in his final match, because he sold his soul to Hollywood, tapped out. I think Belichick's legacy is more sculpted by the things going on with his 23-year-old girlfriend than it is Carolina. Like, from a football perspective, although they did cheat a lot, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think what we look at Belichick about is this whole bizarre 52, 54-year-old difference between he and his girlfriend. Yeah, Sador is not that. Yeah, he can't play. Yeah, he can't play. Exactly, Prometheus. Exactly. Competitors want to compete. You know when it's sincere, you can watch it in their play. I've never sat there going, boy, he's ruining his legacy. Why is he doing that? Because he wants to, because he can't put it away. A lot of guys in retirement can't handle it. That's when they get into trouble doing other things. They can't recreate the thing that drove them from the time that they were playing Little League to what made them very rich and famous. It says about seeing a never give up guy gives up. Wrestling's lost its way. Yeah, it's not that good anymore. The writing and the build up. You would think the athletes that are doing it would be better, but people don't put as much concern into the character as they used to. If you watch, you learn a lot when you watch those A&E biographies about wrestling, which are outstanding. I mean, they are all good. Some are a lot better than others. But there's a lot of them that today just don't have it. There's just not as much care or concern for it, the product, as it used to be. Yeah. So understand that I'm not criticizing Phillip Rivers at all, but the league They should be sitting around going, oof, man, he looked better than a lot of the starting quarterbacks that have been there all year. But that does indicate a pretty sorry state of your league. It does. Yeah, we need to get Jimmy back in some capacity. I know we had planned to do a show with the Boogeyman separate from this show. It was going to be something we're going to record and upload, but he hasn't been feeling, his health hasn't been great. So I'll keep you posted on all that. You want to watch something unwatchable? The Rock and Brendan Fraser on Vanity Fair. Yeah, The Rock. He's never acted. He's just always been The Rock. And his career has crashed and burned. Hey, the attorney, Ryan Price. We need a BDST fan question of the week this week, by the way. Let me know. From a personal finance perspective, Rivers coming back was brilliant. The NFL stops paying health insurance after 5 years, and his 5 years was up. Yeah, that's true. Maybe he did that just for that. That's true. Maybe. Do they stop paying it after 5 years? Because it was funny you bring that up, Ryan. Because obviously, if you know Radford Athletics at all, Kevin Fagan, the former two-time Super Bowl winning defensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers, is our softball coach. We're going to get him on here soon as we get closer to the spring. And Kevin's a great dude. He likes to talk more about his Miami days and Howard Schnellenberger than he does the 49ers, although he got to play for Schnellenberger and Bill Walsh. That's pretty good, isn't it? Hey, Kerry. Glad to have you back. But he was saying that the NFL's still paying his health benefits. So I didn't realize they stopped. Maybe that's something new. Maybe that was grandfathered. The ones who had it when they left, keep it, and then they stopped it. So I guess that's what they did. They updated it. But we were just talking about that. At the Radford, we had our Radford Christmas party. Bugs me too how society has just casually pushed the word Christmas out of the holidays.
Holiday party. It's a holiday. It's a holiday. You're going to have a happy holiday. We can't say Christmas.
Mahomes and the refs are eliminated from the playoffs. Well, no, they might pick somebody else. Well, no, Ryan, you might be right because they may have changed the rules, right? Would that surprise you about the NFL and its greed? So I'm guessing that like Kevin gets whatever he had, they're not going to take it away from that era. And they could have definitely said, if you retired at a certain time now, we're only going to pay it for 5 years. I could see that being the case. I mean, absolutely. So, yeah, I could see that being changed. But he was talking about how over all the many years he's been out, how much he's had to have surgeries. And he was just talking about that. Fortunately, the league has covered all that for him. So it was kind of interesting that came up. There you go. So that's what they've done. Paul says they reported that Rivers' benefits were running out. So I guess what they've done is shocker, taking away from their players, the NFL. They really care about the players, don't they? Or says, happy holidays, my ass. Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah. If you don't celebrate it, that's fine. I celebrate Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Holiday party?
No. Winter break. The schools have to call it winter break now. Broncos have the best record. Maybe it's because it's my team. I don't think they're the best team. I know your record is what you say you are. By the way, Phil Elmassian joins us here in about 20 minutes. Tomorrow, Marty and Rags on the program. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance Company. That'll be from 7 to 8. You are what your record says you are. Broncos are 12-2. They won 11 in a row. You win 11 in a row in the NFL, that's special. That doesn't happen. That's a hard thing to do. They were underdogs yesterday. Broncos were underdogs at home. They'd won 10 in a row. Packers came in and they were favored, which shows you how little people are considering the Broncos. But they lost Dobbins. So their rookie running back is not great. O-line has been okay. It's not great. It's okay. It's not great. How can you send me a Christmas gift? You don't have to. I'll give you my address. I'll do that. That's very nice of you, whoever that is on chat in our professional door text line. But I don't know. Best team, the Rams. I watch the Rams and I get a different feel for them than I do even the Broncos. Like, you can watch the Rams, especially the way Stafford's throwing it, with the talent they have on offense. And that defense is very opportunistic. I think the Rams might be the best team in the league. Right now. Doesn't mean it will play out that way. But to answer your question, Wayne, I think the Rams are pretty solid. But New England's good. Buffalo's not done. I mean, I'm going to be a Bronco guy, and I hope that they can carry this through. But I don't watch them, and I just don't think they win a lot of close games, which is a great character trait to have. But, Virginia won a lot of close games. When they had the big game, they couldn't win it. Yeah, I think you're right, Prometheus. The answer is there's not really a best team, and that's what the NFL wants. They want it to be such a crapshoot going into the tournaments and that's what they have sold their product about for many, many years. The parity of it, you just don't know. The Buffaloes win yesterday. They were down, 21-0? Came back to win at New England. New England's not ready if they're losing a game like that at home, that they have to win. I mean, you're at home, you jump out like that, then you lose that lead. That was a setback for them. But yeah, I would go with the Rams. And I'm not going to discredit Denver. Like I said, 11 straight wins. They've beaten some good teams. The Packers are a good team. Houston's turned it on since Denver beat them. They beat the Eagles in Philly. That's kind of what got going when they were down and out in that game, and then they rallied in the fourth quarter and won that game in Philadelphia. They've been kind of building on that. I don't know what Sean Payton was doing yesterday. Some of these coaches, man, when he went for two, didn't make any sense. They didn't get it. So it's 34-26. Left themselves open to a couple drives there at the end of the game. Then on a 4th and I don't know what it was, 4th and 2, they went for it, ran a stupid play at the 40, at the Green Bay 40, gave them the ball back like a minute 20 to go in great field position instead of just punting it and trusting that defense. They had no timeouts left. Now, they ended up holding them, but some of these coaches, man, I don't understand why they make it so hard on themselves in some of the decisions they make. And Sean Payton tried to almost say, okay, we don't want this game to end yet. Steven, there's our Bills fan. That was my favorite Bills uniform, by the way, yesterday. I love that road white with the white helmet and the blue pant. That looked like the old Joe Ferguson, O.J. Simpson highlights. If I'm not mistaken, when O.J. Simpson ran for 2,000 yards, the Bulls were on the road somewhere playing and they had in the snow, and they had that white jersey with those blue pants. That's a good look. Yeah, I had the game muted yesterday, Wayne. I cannot listen to Romo. He is so bad. He's unlistenable. Guy's making $10 million a year to be the worst analyst on the number one team in the NFL. I made the mistake and had it on early in the game, and the Broncos were doing a little tight end screen thing, and Evan Ingram was pretending like he was blocking, and then he released. And he got hurt later. But Micah Parsons actually reached out, grabbed his arm, and pulled him. This is like 3 yards down the field. And I don't know, just the way Romo described it. Well, people might think that's a foul, but it's not because it's so close to the line. I'm like, well, no, he didn't. I'm not, and it's not pass interference. Yeah, but he grabbed him as soon as he and pulled him to the ground. It's just so bad. Tony Romo's impossible to listen to. Yeah, I had to mute it. I hate that because I like Nance, but I can't watch when it's my team. I don't mind if Romo's on running his mouth about other games, but when it's my team and I'm already pretty angst out anyway, when I'm already like uptight about my team, I don't need to hear some bad commentary about it. So I just sit there in silence and watch the game most of the time. Yeah, Olsen's great. Olsen's a great analyst. He should have stayed the number one guy, but of course, reasons, right? Tom Brady, oh my God, we got to put him number one. And he's nowhere near the analyst of Greg Olsen. Olsen's the best on television. That guy is a superstar. Can't believe he's not. Maybe CBS can like do something with Romo's contract and hire him away. Olsen's terrific. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. By the way, yeah, the Mendoza kid knocked it out of the park. And I got to say, man, all this crap that Diego Pavia has been doing, I love him as a player, but the dude has zero class. Some of the things he was saying about the votes and then the signs he was holding up. And I know some of that vibrato is what made him such a fun player to watch, but man, oh man, the guy really embarrassed himself. He really did. All the things about what he brought to the table on Saturdays, it's awesome to see. And then to see the way he handled himself, the way he carried himself during and I don't think the Heisman's very credible anymore anyway, because it's usually a quarterback award. But that really bothered me. I lost really a ton of respect. And I know he doesn't care, but that was, you don't do that. You don't do it. Yeah, Mendoza kid's a class A. That was a great speech. He won the Heisman when he put together that drive that beat Penn State. That won him the Heisman Trophy. And no, by the way, people, thank you, people in Professional Door Incorporated chat. I have not seen it. Hopefully I can. Somebody said, actually 3 of you told me that I need to see the 60 Minutes piece on Kurt Signetti. I have not seen that. It was last night, right? I think that was last night. So I need to see that. I need to check that out. And I will. Marty Smith, Steve Ragsdale tomorrow. Those of you asking, yes, you did hear that correctly. From 7 to 8. Yeah, it's hard not. You can't not like the Mendoza kid. Yeah, correct. There's no position. We're going to get Todd Grantham to talk about it. There's no position for Pavia in the NFL. None. He's too short to play the position. He can't play anywhere else. And whatever chance he may have had to maybe get drafted or signed as a street free agent after the draft, I think he blew it yesterday over the weekend with this just god-awful behavior that he put on full display. I mean, regardless of what people think of the Heisman now and what I think of the Heisman now, to sit there and to degrade the whole committee the way he did, just can't. You just shouldn't do that. Somebody should have gotten to his head and said something. Because that was bad. That was really, really bad. The way he handled himself was really, really bad. I wonder if I liked it or kept it. There was a comment about him that I thought was perfect, and I don't think I kept it. But yeah. Any event. Classless. Hey, Okie Bob, how are you? We don't hear much. You don't hear much from Hokey Bob as much. How about Mendoza's fellow players' reaction? Yeah, that was cool. The dog pile, that was cool. It shows you what they mean to him. Signetti's washed up, Rick. Move on. Too old. Yeah, he's too old. He's now the featured guest on 60 Minutes. Just won a Big 12 title as the undefeated coach, but he's too old. Say this. Just think about this, Tech fan. Imagine if he would have been the hire 5 years ago. Your thoughts? It's like the way Rick disrespects Panera Bread soup. Yeah, hold up signs. F Panera and the soup. Six this morning for Hokey Bob. TLB, what's up? Good morning. I only got to see a few minutes of the Army-Navy game, but it was very refreshing to play. Yeah, they didn't celebrate like that. They were happy with their team. None of this crap with, yeah. Absolutely. Rivers and Signetti, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, guys were respectful. Did they get excited when they made plays? Yeah. The celebration was awesome. But to see those Army players, they walk over, and the biggest thing they always say is you don't want to sing first. Whoever sings first is the team who just lost the Army-Navy game. But to see them walk over and have the Navy players dead silent, the Navy section dead silent out of respect, and then they walk over to the other side of the field, and the Navy can be a little more – that was chilled. They just get chills. Get you chill. That game was everything that you kind of needed as a college football fan with how horrible the rest of it is. We got guys sitting around and renegotiating their deals, and schools are releasing that. Have you seen all this on social media? Thank you, Okie Bob. Love your T-shirts. Yeah, the T-shirts are great. Great Christmas gift ideas. I tried to tell everybody how well they're made. Thanks to Brandon. There's the back, and there's the front. $20. They are great. They're the perfect weight, if you will. The perfect weight. Yeah, the helmets, when they explain what goes into that design and they think about it for a long time, that's one game where I don't mind alternate things because it means something to each of those divisions of the military and the tradition they're paying homage to. So in a way, it's kind of throwback, even if they haven't worn them before. They explain why Army had the white, and it was really cool. And then the Navy, the old gold. It was awesome, man. Awesome. So, yeah, the helmets were awesome. And going into the reasons, they take the time to show you all the reasoning of it, of why they're doing it. Oh, the national anthem. I tell you what, man. I did. And you may think I'm lame, but I got teary-eyed. I did. The way the national anthem was, and yeah, it was a lot heavier on Saturday. But that game was what we all needed as sports fans, and I wish more of America took the time to watch that game, and maybe it would make people realize we don't have to be against each other. That had all the feels that you hoped it would, the Army-Navy game. And it was a good football game. I mean, Arby was taking it to him. Navy was clearly better, talented, but that game, it doesn't really matter most times. And last year, Army was a conference champion, and Navy beat him. So that game, you can just kind of throw out a lot of stuff. We'll talk to Coach Elmo about that too. We're going to talk about it tomorrow with Coach Rags and Marty Smith. But I did. I got pretty emotional. I think a lot of people did when you watch that. How can you not? And CBS handles it so well. So much respect. Nestler and Danielson, the way they brought – I think that's Gary Danielson's last one. I think he's retiring. And, again, I had to just sit there and just go, oh, thank God this wasn't on ESPN. Thank God Disney did not have this, and I hope they never get this property. It was so funny. I was sitting there texting people, and then Coach Elmo texted me too. He said, can you imagine if this game was on ESPN? Yeah. You give that game to Disney, they're sitting there talking about, wow, this is bad. Oh, how horrible these Americans. I mean, that's where we are with them. We're not exaggerating. They'd have turned it into something completely that it's not meant to be. Thank God CBS and all those people understand what that game is. You don't need to do anything to hype it up. It plays itself out. It hypes itself up for what it represents. And those guys left it all out there on the field. Hell, playing football is easy for them. That's their vacation. Football practice, come on. That's recreational activity for them. For everybody else who plays college football, it's the hardest thing to do. For those men, let's go play a football game, guys. Let's go have some fun. Let's go have some fun. All right. Speaking of having fun, Todd Grantham joins us here in about 45 minutes, joining us now on the program. He is the coach, Phil Elmassian. What's up, Coach? Good morning.
How we doing?
Doing
How
great.
we doing, Rick?
Doing good, man. How are you? Where are you today?
I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, what are you doing there? You just enjoying it?
Janet and I, we like coming down here. It's about a 2-hour ride from Little River, 2.5. But we spent the weekend, spent Sunday today, walking around Charleston, looking at the Christmas deals.
Oh, very cool.
Went to when you ever get a chance to come down, have you ever been to Hall's restaurant, the Hall Steakhouse?
I have seen it. We go down there every year when we play them, the Charleston Southern, but I haven't been in. Is that the real deal? Okay.
It's the real deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real. The owners, Tommy and Billy Hall, they're the son of the dad that originally had the restaurants. They got about 9 of them around the country, Nashville and Columbia. And
okay.
Places, but it is first class. They have jazz ensemble at the dinner. Sunday they have a brunch, a gospel brunch that Janet had been to. She goes, "Oh, you need to go." So we went down. We did a double header. We had brunch and then came back for dinner.
Well, yeah. Come on.
It's a first class place, and the guys, they said the dad during the BLM riots on King Street was pretty rough. A lot of places, windows broken and smashed. The dad stood outside with a shotgun. That restaurant was never touched.
I don't blame him. I'd have done the same thing.
If you ever get down here, you need to come. And when you go, one of the 2 brothers are always there. And they work the crowd. And it's a great first class. It's an event. It's not dinner. It's an event. And so we enjoyed it. So
good. Well,
so here I am.
All right. Well, I'm glad. Well fed and ready to go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about Army Navy. I was just sharing the story, Coach, and you sent me a text too about just sitting here thinking, thank God this game's on CBS.
And what I love baseball. Especially when they did the pitch clock. I'm not going to divert from the subject, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. And I love watching baseball on TV. I just really do. It's one of my favorite sports. And when ESPN has the game, after the first inning, I got to mute it right away because it becomes Sports Center. All they start talking about are the trades, and everything other than broadcasting the game.
Right. 100%.
And when you watch Fox, when John Smoltz is on there, you get to learn about the game. It's just about the game that's being played and the players that are playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you want. I think now that I'm not a coach, I'm a fan. Okay. And so when the Army-Navy game came on, and I said, please be on CBS. Be on CBS. I'm with you. If they ever got a hold of that game, it would be destroyed.
Oh,
I believe
100%.
I believe it. It was so, Danielson's an old Purdue quarterback, so I got to meet all the cradle of quarterbacks when I was coaching at Purdue. They all came at one time. Greasy, Danielson, all the great quarterbacks came to Purdue one weekend and had a reunion. Drew Brees, and it was a lot of fun. And that first class broadcast. Brad Nessler, who I know well, and and you know what, Rick, too. After watching that game, I had a hard time watching the other college games on that.
I know. I didn't. I was like, I'm done. I'm done watching football today.
This is how football's supposed to be. This is exactly how the game's supposed to be played. Exactly. By the players and who's coaching, who's playing. Think about this, Rick. Look at those quarterbacks. The physicality of those quarterbacks. None of them they didn't get hurt.
No. And nobody was sliding where they coach. Nobody was sliding.
No one was sliding. They didn't get hurt. Think about that now. I mean, injuries, injuries, they happen. And most of them occur, 80% of them occur when people are on the ground, when you talk about knees and ankles. Now you're seeing non-contact injuries, especially Achilles injuries. Look at Halliburton, and look at basketball and all the Achilles people. They're non-contact.
Yes.
Their body, what they do, because I had a podcast with a coach friend of mine they had doctors on, they had trainers, high-profile trainers on, and they were talking about the injuries and especially the Achilles. And I'll tell you, when you look at it, you talk about, they got to really think about how they're training now and the numbers of games that they are playing.
Yeah.
I think that's, to me, it's too many games. They all talk about player safety. They can try to make it as safe as they want to make it, limit the practices, limit this, limit that, but we're going to add games. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
For the money.
Yeah.
But the Army-Navy game, there was no target. I did not see a targeting call, not one.
No.
Okay? The replays were so minimal. This first half, there was nothing. It was clean. There were hardly any penalties. There was no targeting calls. The quarterbacks were just football players, that just played quarterback. And that always blew my mind, the physicality of those quarterbacks. And today, I think I mentioned this to you on the show before. I used to, particularly in about the mid-2000s, when they started changing the rules and protecting the quarterbacks, I used to go to the quarterback room and hand out Victoria's Secret catalog, say, hey, go get your uniform. Zach Taylor was our quarterback, the coach of the Bengals. He was our quarterback in Nebraska. Yeah, I'd walk in. I said, here, go get your uniform.
To answer your question, Wayne, yes, Bob Greasy is as good of a guy as he seems to be.
Yeah.
Met him several times. He's actually on the old radio show with me. He came on the show like 2 or 3 times. You got to meet him 2004 at the ACC football media kickoff. He was still doing games at the time for ABC. He was there to just talk to coaches. He sat down with us, and he sat down with us for like 45 minutes on the show. Bob Greasy is the guy that you think that he is. Yeah,
great. Yeah, what you see is what you're getting. Humbled, as humbled a man.
Great dude. Yes.
Yeah. His son played for us at Virginia.
Yeah, he's a Denver Bronco. Yeah.
His son was his youngest son was a walk-on deep snapper. And played for us. The other son, I coached against the older son, the younger son. Coached against him when he was at Michigan. He was a walk. Walk. I can't remember his first name now, but he was a walk-on at Michigan, and they won the national championship with him. And Brady, I think, was a freshman at that time. And then his older son was our deep snapper at Virginia. I can't remember his first name. First names are starting to escape me. It's the concussion syndrome.
Yeah.
But, no, the Army-Navy game, I'm like you. I tear up when I watch that game. I literally, really do. How many college games do you sit and watch and you start tearing up knowing what these kids go through and what they're going to be going through?
I know.
And love playing the sport. Coach Norton always used to say, if you play football for any other reason that you just love to play, don't play.
I know.
And, and I'm sure Coach Hicks was in the same. Hey, by the way, I forgot to mention, remember when I talked about the West Virginia staff with Kurt Signetti's dad?
Yeah.
In the 70s? Joel Hicks was on that staff.
Absolutely he was. With Nick Saban,
Coach Hicks, Nick Saban, Gary Tranquil.
They were great friends. They were. Nick Saban used to come to Coach Hicks' house every summer. I didn't realize. Dan Callahan, God rest his soul, would tell me. He goes, "Yeah, Dan, we used to sit over there. He was a great writer here for high school football. You probably didn't know Dan, but he would be there at Coach's house when Nick Saban would come in for 2 or 3 days, even when he was still at Alabama. He would just sneak in town and hang out. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great game. It's what it was all about, and I love the way they paid on. And the post game really gets you too with the songs and it's just
can't get enough of it. It's never ending. They should do. Game day needs to go there. Well, no, not ESPN.
No. Keep them away, far away.
I lost my head for a little bit. But they really need to do more than just a half hour before that game and really touch on those players. Give it not a half hour. CBS needs to do an hour before and then extend after. You can't get it. I can't. I just can't get enough of that game. I had a buddy of mine, Kevin Rogers. I played with at William Mary.
Yeah.
Great. Coached quarterbacks at Virginia Tech. Excellent quarterback coach.
Great guy. Coach Rogers. Great.
Syracuse together. And he was on the Gary Tranquil staff at Navy. And I always asked him, I said, what's it like, the Army-Navy? He goes, Phil, there's nothing like it. And he's been to as many bowls as I have and at a high level, coached in the NFL with the Vikings. But he said, Phil, there's absolutely nothing like it.
No. He was the quarterback's coach at Tech during the first run of this show, and he would come on quite often. He would come in studio. Kevin Rogers, great guy. Great.
Yeah, we were teammates at William Mary. He was a junior. I was a senior.
Yeah.
I transferred, and hell of a player and a heck of a coach. You talk about quarterback, the NFL, the development of the quarterbacks. Here's Phillip Rivers, 44, 45, whatever old, 5 years removed. 1 week goes on the field and dang near pulls a win.
I know.
Defenses in the NFL.
That's a sad statement on the league, isn't it? That shows you where the league is with quarterback development.
It's an indictment.
It's an indictment. It is.
Because you think about it, then why do you practice?
Right.
I remember I coached Jeff Lagerman at Virginia. And he was the 13th player taken in the draft. And I told he was so smart. And this is a great tribute to Phillip Rivers from the neck up in terms of his still retain that information to go in 1 week, go into a game and pull that off. Well, I told the pro scouts in Lagerman, say, look, walkthroughs are boring for this guy. Walkthroughs are for the guys that can't learn well enough.
Right.
That's what I've always said. And he was one. Meetings, just one time, go over it one time. That's all you need. And yet meeting does not have to last but 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't need 30 and 40-minute meetings and walkthroughs. I said, don't bore this guy. He's so smart. He's smarter than anybody you'll have on that team and any coach you have in that office. And I said, and if you lose his trust, he will tell you to go put it where the sun don't shine.
He went to the Jets, right? The Jets drafted him,
yeah,
didn't they?
13th player taken in the draft. He was having a draft party. We were all over there, and we were going over the house at the draft party. We got kegs of beer and all the seniors and players coming over. We're thinking he ain't getting taken till 7 o'clock at night. We get the call at 12:15 from the New York Jets. I told him, I said, not only did the Jets screw up their teams, they screw up good parties. we had to cancel it earlier. So, but it was but no, that what Rivers did yesterday was phenomenal.
I know. It just shows you again where the league is. If somebody can get off the couch and almost pull that off, the league's in a sorry state. I mean, anybody with two eyes can see what's happening in the NFL. It's not in a good place. Product of the NFL is as bad as I've seen it. And it shouldn't be that way. Senator athletes are better than ever before, but the product of the league is just it's not very good.
Well, it's almost you're almost cursed. First of all, if you're in the first round or taking the first player, you're not a good football team.
No.
So what do? They take a quarterback, go into a bad football team, and then they throw him in the mix right away, and then 2 years, 3 years later, they're trading him.
That's right. Or he's out of the league, or he can't play and he's out of the league. Yeah.
Because, they're going to bad teams. So you really don't want to have the first player. You don't want that thing. Because if he's a quarterback, you almost have to take him, And they talk about Mendoza. See, I think Mendoza would be a heck of a professional quarterback.
I do too.
I would not want to coach against him. He can process the information. That's what it's about. It's about processing information, decision making. Tom Brady, I've always said this, that jerk. We lost to, I call him the jerk.
Yeah.
He was one of the first quarterbacks that I've ever coached against in the transition from normal offense to the spread that I defined as when that coaching breaks down, the play is going to continue. Okay. And people talked about his athleticism, and he did. When you look at his combine, it is like, it's embarrassing. His body, I keep telling my wife from the neck up, yeah, he's a good looking man, but from the waist down, I got a way over him. As far as the whole total body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The neck down. And but boy, all of a sudden he was so athletic. People forget he was a catcher in baseball and a draftable catcher. He was an athlete.
Yeah.
He was a heck of an athlete. I remember went up to the Chicago Bears and they had me up there talking about quarterbacks. And I had said, and not that it's anything earth shattering, but I said, when you watch him in the pocket, like today, you talk about Mahomes and athleticism. Nobody was a better athlete in the pocket than Tom Brady. No one has played.
I know. Very casual. Yeah.
Between that, the head and the feet.
Yep.
But that play, you got 3 seconds on your decision, but all of a sudden, he'll extend it 2 more seconds and exhaust all the resources available to him.
Yep, 100%.
And that was the difference. And that's how he beat us. Literally, how he beat us.
Hey, Tony was asking, speaking of Pulaski County, you coached Billy Myers, did you not?
One of my favorite all-time players.
I think we've had a lot of great players come through. I'm not sure. Now, I started out at the tail end of his career, but I'm not too sure that pound for pound, Billy Myers may not be the greatest high school football player ever come out of Pulaski County. And I know that says a lot, but right? You were up close and personal. Yeah.
No, I got there. I knew about Billy when I used to coach the camps up at Virginia Tech when I was at Ferrum Junior College. And so I knew about Billy. He was, because I'd be the DB and I worked with Steve Bernstein with the DBs, and I'd always go up. For 4 years, I used to go up and work the tech camps. So I knew about Billy, and it's a shame he had hurt his knee.
Yeah.
That's a crime, because you talk about athlete. No, he was an excellent athlete, and he could run. And when I got there, he had hurt he's coming off his knee, but he was a cornerback. He started, and I've never coached a redhead would knock the crap out of you. Never have. I don't know what it is. You're getting picked on their whole life. But he was something now. And then I had another one named Eddie Neal from Graham High, another kid from the Southwest Virginia that started for me at Virginia Tech. Both those kids. But Billy Myers was. Guys like him, they keep you in the business.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. TLB says, my brother cut Coach Hicks' hair, and he learned a lot behind the barber chair with Coach Saban's stories. And, they were always in constant contact. Always, yeah.
The
one time I interviewed Nick Saban, he found out I played for Coach Hicks, and it became – we just went off of Coach Hicks. He just kept talking about Coach Hicks, and he knew he knew all the things about Pulaski County football. Nick Saban knows exactly what Pulaski County football used to be about. I mean, 100% he does. 100%.
Oh, West Virginia boy,
absolutely.
I mean, I'll tell you, I don't know what's in the water in that state, but you get kids from West Virginia, you can practice for 6 hours. And you start looking at, you start getting in that Southwest Virginia, and there is a line between the two states. But if you could really, when it comes down to football, just erase the line, because it's the same mentality, It's that coal miners mentality, and not that they were all coal miners, or moms and dads were coal miners, but they were lunch bucket people now, and blue collar lunch bucket. And just wanted to be coached. Just coach me as hard as you want to coach me.
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
And if you didn't coach them hard, they'd be disappointed.
That's right. That's exactly right. They want to be. That's what coaches want to be. Players want to be disciplined. They want to be coached. They do.
No, they do. I told Billy, I used to have this thing, Rick, I got this from Coach Olds. We used to talk about the moment of truth. And the Todd will remember this. And about the time exerting the physicality of the game of how much time you have to exert your physicality. And he always used to, he'd say, okay, average play lasts 3, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. He said, and then you got to multiply that by a 60-minute game, and you got, my math is diminishing greatly. But basically, when you take the seconds in the amount of play that a play is going to occur, and then you take the minutes played, well, it comes out to about 300 whatever, so many seconds in the game or so many minutes. What it came down to is 5 minutes of football. The game's going to last 3 hours, but you only literally have 5 minutes, 5.5 to 6 minutes of physicality of football. That's it.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the 2 hours and 55 minutes, you're on the bench, you're in the huddle, or you're in the locker room.
Right.
I mean, just do the math. The seconds per play by the amount of plays, 60-something plus plays, And so Billy goes to me, he goes, Coach, why do we practice so long then? I said, Billy, be quiet.
That's funny.
That's true story.
I think you mentioned one time, maybe when you were at Tech, Cornell Brown may have been the best guy you coached. Is there a player that still stands out all your many places that just is the quintessential Phil Elmassian protege?
Yeah. Cornell, everybody had a hand in that revival in 93. Ricky Bustle, great coach. You talk about quarterback, evaluator, and coach. But I don't know if I've been around a football player, a freshman high school football player that had more effect on a team than Cornell Brown. I mean, he's coming into a program that had won 2 games, Temple and JMU. And the impact he had on the enthusiasm and the love of the game. And he loved practice because he loved being around the people. He loved the people he just loved his teammates. And it showed in practice. It was his playground. So he was one player in my 40 years, had as big an impact on a program outside of, think about this now, most of your impacts are coming from your quarterback's position.
Right, right.
This is a high school linebacker that we moved to D end, and the effect and the practice and the effect he had on a football team was phenomenal. The other two players that always really stuck out were Jeff Loggeman for Virginia and Lawyer Malloy at Washington, who was at one point in time the highest paid safety in the game. He was an All-American, second in the Thorpe Award. So I got to coach those two cats. And here's what both of them had in common. Their talent was probably the best talents I had been around. But I don't know if I've been around the competitiveness and efforts that those two kids would bring to a practice with their talent. And that's really off the charts. That's a rarity. It's hard to find that combination when you have, affecting the outcome of a game talent.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy's going to affect the outcome. Here's an example. We're playing Oregon. I'm at Washington. Now, if we beat Oregon, we're going to the Rose Bowl. We tied Southern Cal at the time. There was no overtime. So we were 5-0-1 going into the Oregon game. And we're down 21-0 at the half. We came back in that second half. And the D coordinator and we told the kids, we're going to blitz these suckers every snap. We're going to get 2 turnovers in the second half. All right. And we're going to win this sucker. And that's exactly what we did. And we got 2 turnovers. So we're winning. We come back and we're winning the game. We're winning the game. And we're down by 2. We're down by 2. Oregon's got the ball on the 10-yard line, their 10-yard line. It's 3rd down and 9. Coach Lambright calls a timeout. He was the head football coach. And I asked him, because we were sharing the coordinator's part. I said, Jim, you want to win the game on defense, or can you feel good about the offense coming down, kicking the field goal and winning the game? He goes, let's get the ball to the offense. Okay, it's 3rd and 9. We'll punt the ball back to the offense. Let's the offense go try to win the game, not defense. Because he was an aggressive defensive coach. He would have said, yep, let's go. 0 blitz them. Let's try to win the game on defense. But he said, no. So we got into the bear, played a 3-deep zone out of the 46 defense, which is back in the day was very unusual. Todd will again tell you about it. Well, they throw a jailbreak screen. You know what I'm talking about? When the receivers come behind the line of scrimmage and the offensive linemen are all downfield. Well, Lawyer Malloy out of the middle of the field comes out of the middle of the field, and this receiver catches the ball on the jailbreak. And by the time he takes about 4 or 5 other steps, Lawyer Malloy hits him. The ball goes one way and the helmet goes the other way on this receiver. Separated the ball. So we get the ball, make him fumble the ball. We get it on the 20-yard, 25-yard line. Our offense tries to get the ball in the middle field kick. The kid misses the field goal. And I'll tell you what, Lawyer Malloy was he wanted to go to that Rose Bowl so bad that he was in total tears, total breakdown.
Sure.
That's how competitive that he was. So those two kids were the most competitive, talented players. Because in practice, it was full speed every snap.
Yeah. See,
you got to slow them. You'd have to slow those guys down, which is unusual.
Coach, how about a kid who Wayne asked, who may have just been an average guy, that you respected, and that turned into this mega star as he did?
Well, I tell you, everyone tells me I need to write a book, and really,
you should write a book. Yes, you should.
Wouldn't be anything about me. It is the.
I know, but yeah, you'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
There were 2 kids at Virginia Tech, and one, Scott Jones, from Bristol. I get to Virginia Tech in '93, the spring. Scott Jones is the 5th-year senior walk-on. 5th-year senior walk-on. He's going in his 5th year. Usually walk-ons, they're gone. So I get there, and they graduated a lot of kids in the secondary, and he thinks he's going to start now. It's like, oh, I'm a senior. And I said, no. I said, you're a 5th-year senior walk-on. I don't know what you've been doing for the last 4 years, but I'm sure you've had opportunities, but I'm going to be looking at some freshmen coming in. This is a 2-win team. I don't need you to beat Temple and JMU. That was the only 2 wins they had. So he never quit. He could have quit. Probably should have. In his mind, a lot of kids would have quit. They would have. They said, "Nah, that's it. I'm graduating. I'm out of here. I'm not paying for my 5th year." So in the spring, I just told him, I said, "Look, you got 2 choices." I said, "You can keep competing." I said, I never give away positions that kids have earned. If you haven't earned a position, I'm giving it away to anybody. Could give it back to you, to a freshman. That was my rule, and they understood that. So he competed, and next thing you know, we had a freshman named Larry Green who I liked, and I was going to start him in the preseason. And Scott was a backup. He was like the 3rd corner. And next thing you know, Larry Green gets hurt in the preseason. So, okay. And he was really practicing well. You talk about handling adversities. And next thing you know, he started for us. He started all 11 games for us. And we went to that bowl, the Indy beat Indiana in the
Indiana game, yeah.
And we had Tyrone Drakeford, a 2nd-round draft choice. The players voted him the outstanding defensive back. That's how well he had played all year. Great contributions. He was a starter. He could have quit, And those kids, you sit there and today they'd go into the portal, So that was one of my greatest memories of a player that. And I had another kid at Wisconsin named Bobby Myers. Same thing. He got fired by the DB coach before me. Started, got fired. I'm there. We're playing Michigan. Barry wants him out of the game because he's screwing up. We fire him. We bring in a walk-on that ended up great player. Well, this kid, he could have quit. And he just, I told him, I said in the preseason, I said, "Look, I got 2 freshmen I want to look at. You're going to be number 3, but I will put you on the nickelback." He hung in there. Next thing you know, his junior year, as a nickelback, he's making plays. He just needed confidence. He just did not have a lot of confidence. And all of a sudden, this confidence started growing as he started making plays. Goes into his senior year, and I said, "Bobby, you've earned the position. You're going to start." Okay? And next thing you know, we're playing Michigan against the jerk. And we're running a zone pressure. He's on the boundary hash, and we're going to bring the pressure from the field. So he's got to get to the X in the middle of the field and get to his landmark on his middle of the field, thirds on a 3 deep zone. As soon as he hits that X, starts in his back pedal, Brady, that ball leaves that left hand. He's like shot out of a cannon. Now, he could high jump 6'10". He was a Big Ten high jump champion. He shot out of a cannon and gets outside the numbers. The receiver's on the bottom of the numbers. He takes the interception off the kid's head. He takes the ball off his head and intercepts the damn football. I went, Jesus, this is the greatest play. You can YouTube it. It's on YouTube. The game's on YouTube. So I walk into the meeting on Sunday. All the DBs. I said, you just got drafted. You may be the last player taken, but you just got drafted. I want everybody to learn. And then I got a line of pro scouts on Monday in my office. It's the greatest interception I've ever seen. I got a whole bunch of pro scouts going, "Who's number 26? Who's number 26?" I say, "Yeah." And then next thing you know, the kid went on and they also got drafted, played in the NFL for 3 or 4 years, and it just, those are great testaments to kids that stick it out, and handle your adversities, positively. And understand the problem. You can't solve a problem unless you understand the problem. Some kids just don't want to. And they were able to, both he and Scott Jones. So those are the kids that you just love. And then they provide a legacy for the players that are there and the younger players that are there. They see that growth. All of a sudden you just walk on, becomes a starter, and he earns a scholarship, and he's the most valuable player. And he can win for us. We go from a 3-win team to a 9-win team, and and a bowl championship. And then we go to 2 Rose Bowls with Bobby Myers at Wisconsin, and the one his senior year. And he had a great Rose Bowl. They get to the NFL. And so that's what keeps you in the business.
And now we've got guys showing up on social media accounts signing their new NIL contract, like we see in the NFL when guys are renewing or signing their second deal or signing as a free agent. I don't know how many. It was incredible to see. I think there was like a dozen schools yesterday that had the kid smiling, looking up. He's re-signing, and he's got a contract. And I'm thinking, all right, this is not what any of this should be looking like right now. It is embarrassing. It's just sick. It's gross.
I'm sure they're great kids, great moms and dads.
Sure.
Great character, but you know what? Wouldn't hire any of them.
It's a system.
Wouldn't hire any of them. Yeah. In business, wouldn't hire them. These guys are, first of all, I'm going to tell you, Rick, in 5 or 10 years, I'll probably be dead. Who the hell knows? But I'm going to tell you, Rick, these kids are going to have problems. When all of a sudden that's taken away from them.
Yeah.
Just like the NFL. 80% of the NFL players are broke.
Right.
They're bankrupt. 80%. That's what I've been told. You can ask Todd. I've been told that. I don't know if it's true, but I've been told that a lot of them leave with no money at the end of their careers. And the average is 3 years. The average career is 3. So you look at these kids that are now, some that are making $1 million at 18, 19 years old. And like I said, you give anybody time, money in a car, you might as well shoot them. They're worthless. And then you get the transfer if you don't like where you're at. I can leave and not handle it like those 2 kids I had talked about that handle all their adversities for 4 or 5 years. Who are you going to hire?
Right.
You're going to hire Scott Jones from Bristol, Virginia in your company, or you're going to hire the guy that's on his 3rd school or 2nd school and leave him for the money.
Leaving strictly for the money. Yeah.
For the money. Because mom, dad, and the age, it's not the kids. Don't get mad at the kids. The adults are screwing us up. When I went to Ferrum, I was ready to quit every day. Every day. And I used to tell players, if you go into a program and you put that head on that pillow and you don't think you can go out there tomorrow, the next day, you know this, you played for this guy. You played for the same guy, Joel Hicks. You had to sit down and find that one reason why you're going back to practice tomorrow.
Right.
Whatever it was, but you didn't need 3 or 4. You needed the one reason when you get out of that bed. It's 2 a days, and you're going to, And
you know what the reason was for me? I'll tell you. And Coach, because you were a great coach. The reason for me, and I had that when I was getting the hell beat out of me, like by guys like Todd Grantham. When I was just this little sophomore.
Don't build him up. He wasn't that damn good.
What mine was? I didn't want to let Coach Hicks down.
Well, there you go.
He put me on made the travel team, and every day my motivation, I was bruised. I was dejected. But I said, well, he put his faith in me to at least be on that squad if they ever needed me in a pinch. I'm not going to go in and say, Coach, I can't handle this. And that motivated me every day.
Oh, yeah.
Great coaches do that. Even when a young 15-year-old kid who doesn't know, left shoe from right shoe can make that, rationalization himself. I don't want to let my coach down,
Well, I'm at Ferrum Junior College coming from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going to Ferrum. That ride from Route 40 from Rocky Mount to Ferrum was the longest ride I'd ever taken in my life.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. I'm sitting to go, what have I gotten myself into? And we're at practice. And I'm telling you, there were 140 kids, 30 kids come out, and in 3 days, there were 60 left. I mean, it was the junction. It was, and you had to sit back, and here you are, junior college, no scholarships. You're on work studies programs, and you're paid. He never gave a penny to a player. And you're just trying to get a scholarship someplace and further your education. Well, we had a bunch of guys from Massachusetts, and that's another story. We all got down there because of our custodian in high school. That's another story. It's a fantastic story. My wife still can't believe it. The janitor got us to Ferrum. Our janitor. Okay. So we would go there. So this one guy came down, Mel Mortarelli from I said, Mel, they got horses in that stable down there. let's go ride them some bitches to Jersey. We can get to Jersey before they die. We're quitting every day. We're going to quit every day. Finally, I call my mom and dad up. I call my mom up. I go, all right, that's it. I'm coming home. She goes, all right, take your time. I'll send you some money, what I got. Take your time coming home, because when you come home, your ass is going in the Army. And Vietnam was going on at the time.
Right.
I'm sitting there going, this football, it's not that hard as you think.
Right.
So and those days are over. Those days are over.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
They're
it is.
over.
It is. It's never going to be the same ever again. So
no, and I'm not
great
saying,
stuff. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that the kids aren't bad kids. It's not the kids.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's not the kids.
The agents, the mom and the dad. And when that money drains and they're not going to the NFL, because what Todd will tell, I think only 1% make it in the league. You got 32 teams. You only get
That's
so
right.
much space.
That's right.
And when that crashes and burns, these kids are going to have problems. They're going to have big problems.
Yeah, they are. They are.
When's the last time you heard a kid's academically ineligible?
That's gone away the last 4 or 5 years, hasn't it? You don't even hear about academics in any way, shape, or form.
Season, that was the number one. There were 2 things in the bowl season that you heard negatively. Only 2. Academically ineligible or busted for drugs.
Right. Yeah.
Because you had a pee in the cup.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, that's right. That's right.
Testing on the bowl sites. I'll bet they don't even test anymore.
No, I bet they don't either.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Those were the only 2 negative pieces of news you had in the bowl season. And you don't ever hear about academics. Graduation rates. If you didn't have a good graduation rate, you couldn't get in the home.
That's right.
I'll tell you, I'll let you go with this one. Let
Yeah.
me tell you a great Howard Schnellenberger story. I think Howard Schnellenberger was a character, right? The old Bear Bryant guy, Kentucky. And so he's at Louisville recruiting this kid in Florida. And, Louisville academics he could bend that envelope a little bit. And
a little bit.
He got like a 1.7. I don't know how to, excuse me. Sorry, Rick. Got a 1.7 out of high school. He's a bad student, not a good student. Well, they're going to offer him a scholarship. The mother goes, Coach, I just want to make sure you take care of my boy academically. He said, I'll do a whole lot better job than you did. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I had a guy, my buddy who was on his staff at Louisville. He told me that, but if it's not true, it should be.
It should be true. It needs to be true.
All right, buddy.
You going to be on Greg's show later today? People want to catch you on the radio? Okay, good.
I think if he'll have me on, like I said, I'm like my old golden retriever. I just like to be wanted, so it's fun.
Oh, he'll have you on. He'll have you on. Let me know if you get started on that book. I think I'm gonna help you get that thing done. That'd be great, man.
It would. I think because of the coaches I got to work for, and sharing from an assistant's perspective of watching these great coaches turn programs around and how they did it.
Yeah.
From a ground roots perspective. And then the players that just define, adversities and how you handle them and the choices that you have to make when they're confronted with them and the choices that they had made. And those choices are gone. The handling adversities was this, Rick, is what made you, we're all here today as former players for people with Coach Hicks and Coach Norton, Coach Ragsdale, and I'm sure Marty he'll expound on this. I'll guarantee you.
No doubt.
The lessons you learn on that football field, because you're going to see it. They can't teach you there's no classroom that can teach you that.
No.
That you're going to be confronted with adversities, and how you handle them is going to define who you are eventually. And you got 2 choices. You can be positive or negative. And if you're positive, it'll work.
Well, it's going to be fun to follow you through the college playoff as well. And some of your comments when you're watching all these games. I'm really looking forward to that. When we get through game by game as we get matchup and matchup.
Well,
That'll be fun. That's going to be fun.
The first 3 out of 4 games are a joke. I'm happy for JMU, but at the same time, Oregon, come on. Look what happened to Liberty with a good football.
Yeah, I know. It could be
Ole
ugly.
Miss, Ole Miss, Tulane, that movie, we already seen this movie.
We already seen it one time. The ending's probably not going to change, is it?
And then Oklahoma, Alabama, we've seen this movie. So the game I'm really looking forward to is Miami A&M. That's the one game I'm going to watch. That's the only game I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch whoever Indiana's going to end up playing. I'm going to watch who Ohio State ends up playing, okay? And maybe Texas Tech. That's it. Because after watching the Army-Navy game, I don't care if I ever saw another college game the rest of the year.
I know. Well, Coach, listen, have fun later today with Greg, and thanks a lot as always for stopping by, brother. Good stuff.
It's a lot of fun. Say hi to Todd for me, please.
I will. You have fun in Charleston. Try to have fun in Charleston.
I'm heading home this afternoon. Well, we had way too much fun last night. I tell you, ate and had some good wine and a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. All right, stay safe. Heading back.
Oh, yep.
All right, Coach Elmo. Good stuff. Elmassian. Enjoyed this. That was great. Great stuff from him. Always great stuff from our many sponsors. Thanks to Bob Christ and the Ready Set Fund, BobChrist11 at gmail.com. If you're looking to raise some money for your high school team, whatever it might be, give them a call, man. Check them out. Check out Ready Set Fund. They've got text messages ready for you, and just ask for Lake County Girls Softball how much it helped. Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated 38 years. Travis Williams in Dublin. Appreciate them as always. The best in the biz. Thanks to National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of the program, and my bank for the last 35 years. Ryan Pryor, the attorney in Radford, 701 West Main Street. He specializes in trust and estate planning. We have to have a BDST fan question of the week here. I don't have one yet. We got to get that done. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports Entertainment for being the presenting sponsor of this program every day. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim. Little River Heating and Air, you're going to need them. Give them a call, 540-553-2971. Still single digits this morning here in Reiner. So if you have any issues, reach out to those two gentlemen. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner, 540-200-8294. They are the best. And McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, right off of Pepper Spray Road in Christiansburg. Brand new building. It's huge. They got everything that you're going to need. Thanks to James Lawson, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply since 1997, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. The NRB Super Bowl over here in Christiansburg. They've been doing it for 25 years. They've got NRB nightlife going on now. Started on December the 12th. Check them out. They've made so many renovations. So many. Call and ask for Amanda or Terry. Thanks to Top Shelf Apparel and Brandon up in Pulaski and Harvey's GM in Radford. Go buy your next new or used vehicle from Brad Harvey. Thanks for me. Yeah, Coach Elmo is great. They're great. Our next coach is also great. Todd Grantham joins us on the program. How you doing, TG? Good morning.
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. We just had a great conversation, as always, with Coach Elmassian. People were talking, he remembers every player, uniform, play. It's amazing that he still has those visuals going.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Phil's one of those guys, man. He really gets to know his players, and, he enjoys talking about them, and good guy. He's one of the old school guys, kind of the tough love kind of thing.
Yeah.
And guys kind of respect that as they, move forward through their life and stuff and realize it's probably what was best for them.
I've asked you, as you've gone now and had such a successful career, as you go through all the influences that you had, I know Coach Hicks was one of those. Mm-hmm. Do you remember, were you on the team, or maybe you'd already gone? Remember the year we were waiting in the locker room? It was before we played Salem. And we wondered, we were all sitting there, we were ready to go, but the coaches weren't out yet. And it's because Coach Hicks had something hit him about Salem was so good that year. And he came out and he was so excited. And I remember, Coach Skeens came out, he did his hands like this. And Coach Flincham was and Coach Hicks got up on the whiteboard and he said, with his teeth all gritted, I just figured out how we're going to kick Salem's ass. Were you part of that team?
I was there. I was there for that one. I think that was my last year. I remember
that.
Yeah, that was the good old days, man. You'd have like 5,000 people in the stadium there. Walk down the walkway there. Cougar growl, human chain, all that kind of stuff. That was. I've told people when I go out recruiting. You know, I've been all over the Southeast, and like when I first started going to games, I was assuming it was going to be like Pulaski County, right? And I'm like, where the hell are all the fans at? I mean, it's 50 people there, you know. So I realized pretty quick in my coaching career that I got spoiled being from Pulaski County and you know, being able to be a part of that, you know, that scene and everything.
Well, you've talked about this, and you know, I know you watched the Army-Navy game as well, and how special that is. And we're getting ready to start the playoff. And Coach Elmo just talked about something you've mentioned. I mean, we're happy for JMU and we're happy for Tulane, but best teams in the country aren't represented, are they, in this playoff?
No, I mean, it gets back to, not to be political, but you know, this inclusivity thing. You know, all-inclusive participation trophy, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all for, and there's a way to do it. And I'm all for teams like JMU and Tulane being in it. But at the end of the day, if you're only going to have, I mean, they're not one of the 12 best teams in the country. I think you could, if you could branch it out, you can make those people a part of it and have other games kind of like they have in, you know, the wild card weekend in the NFL. You kind of have the championship game and then the play-in games because they really had a bye before this week's games coming up. So, I mean, there's a way to do it, but they just got to get together and figure out what's best for the fans and really the sport in general, because the way it is right now, it's, you know, the bowls aren't, you know, the bowls eventually going to go away. I think I've said it before. I think the bowls should be at the beginning of the year. And because the bowls do mean something to the communities where they are. And there's some that, and players like going to them. But what happens is, and you got to look at it from a business side, you know, because the kid that played at Notre Dame that hurt his knee in the bowl game, you know, really never panned out in the National Football League. But if you got a chance to play in the National Football League and really have life-changing money, set yourself up for life, but yet I can go play in this bowl game. And at the end of the game, yeah, we're going to win it. We're going to win the championship, whatever. But at the end of the day, when that game's over, that's it. And a kid has a chance to set himself up financially the rest of his life. That's like a big decision. So, I mean, you know, I get why people get frustrated with it, but it is a business decision, you know, for those guys. And that's kind of where the state of football is and where we are. So I think that they got to look at it from a standpoint of how can we make it exciting for the fans and still have meaningful bowl games. And like I said, is to have the interconference, you know, matchups at the beginning of the year. Just play the games at the beginning of the year. And then that way you get a good game and that kind of thing and kind of go from there. So they got a lot of work to do to fix this college football thing.
Well, I want to switch gears. You spent a lot of years in the National Football League, and we talk about the product. Eyeball test, it doesn't pass it most Sundays, for me anyway. It's kind of deteriorated in a lot of ways. I know the athletes are bigger and stronger than ever before, but you got a 45-year-old guy getting off the couch and nearly pulling off an upset in Seattle, the lack of development at the quarterback position. Yeah. What do you see different now in the league? I mean, you just left the league a couple of years ago. What have you seen the evolution of the NFL? Yeah,
I mean, he almost pulled it off, but they only scored one touchdown now.
Yeah.
I mean, they only had one touchdown. They had some field goals. They played a really good defense. Actually, you know, Mike McDonald was my GA at Georgia. And I personally think they have the best defense in the National Football League from a schematic standpoint, personnel and all of that. You know, it's an entertainment business. The players are bigger, faster, stronger. The way the rules are set up in like college football is actually harder to defend plays because you're allowed to have unbalanced formations. Like you don't have to report the tackle being eligible, right? And those things. So therefore there's a lot of like, I don't know if you remember Tom Olivadotti. He used to be the coordinator for the Miami Dolphins and Don Shula. Well, his son was my linebacker coach at Georgia. And we're getting ready to play Michigan State in a bowl. Retired in Miami. And he come up to me, he's like, because he and I worked together at Houston, and he's like, Todd, he goes, what are you doing? He goes, the X is going in motion, which is the single receiver on the open side, and he's by himself. So in pro football, you have to have an eligible receiver to both sides. Well, in college, you don't have to have that. So Tom came to practice, and like it was like kryptonite. He goes, how does the X go in motion? And we went over the whole thing. So back to your question a little bit is, there's a lot more rules in college football and make it harder. The other thing is the quarterback can run the ball in college. Like if you watch the Army-Navy game, I mean, them dudes were running the ball. I mean, it was a glorified wing tee, right? And what happens when you do that is it becomes 11 on 11. So then you translate over to pro football. You're not going to run guys like that all the time. Like, for example, like you probably run them late in the year. You run them in the red zone when you got to score, or you're in the fourth quarter, you got to get a first down, or it's a got to have it situation. So you minimize, when you run them, unless you're the Giants, and then you run dart all the time, and then the guy ends up with like 5 concussions,
right?
That kind of deal. So I think what happens is the games are different from one formations. The National Football League is a quarterback league, okay? And you have to have a quarterback to move the ball. Too good. Like, you're not going to just run the ball down the field and score points, or at least enough points to win, okay? So you've got to have a way to make explosive plays. And, the easiest way to make explosive plays is through the air. So it kind of gets back to the development of the quarterback. And I think it's a little bit of developing the quarterback. These guys are really behind with the way things are in college. Okay. So you have guys in college that, they run the ball around. They make what I call loose plays. I mean, they back up to throw it. Nothing's open. They take off, run for, a big gain. And then sometimes they can throw it down the field. So they kind of extend plays. Well, that doesn't really happen in pro football as much. Although when you get the guys like Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, when, they became very difficult guys to defend. Well, not all guys are going to be like that. And in pro football, the development of the guy is really behind because, you spend so much money on your player at that position, okay, that it's hard to justify some of the runs that you would have to run to be a difficult offense, because as soon as he gets hurt, you're done. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to run a guy like that. Like, Lamar doesn't run as much now as he did, 2 years ago. And I think it's really because of the amount of money invested in the quarterback. He's your number one guy, and it's very difficult to keep him healthy if you run him the way they run him in college. So therefore, it's really back to 11 on 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then you get into, you got to be able to throw the ball down the field. So, the biggest thing to me is the development of the quarterback, just from a passing standpoint, understanding where to throw the ball pre-snap wise and all that. And look, the thing that happens is, and I've always said this, is like when you're a very bad team, you pick high in the draft, right? Well, generally speaking, you're going to take a quarterback because that's the most important position. The issue is, because it was like that when I first went to the Browns. I mean, they were horrible, and we actually turned it and went 10-6, okay? And we ended up getting good quarterback play, not great quarterback play. But the year that I first went there, we're going to take a quarterback, and most teams that pick high take a quarterback. Well, generally speaking, if you're taking a quarterback that high, you probably need a left tackle to protect him. You probably need somebody to throw it to him, and all those things. Just like if you look at Dak, round pick, I think, for Dallas, and his breakout year, if you look, he had Des Bryant as a receiver. He had another guy that was a pretty special guy, and then he had 5 first-round offensive linemen. Okay, never got touched. So you didn't worry about getting hit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a cumulative effect on those hits and everything. And he had his breakout year. And then because Dak was doing so well, they knew they had to pay him. And so as they went through their career, those linemen, they couldn't afford them. So those linemen started moving and everything because they had to eventually give the money to Dak. So that's just the way the nature of the game. Same thing would happen with Mahomes. If you look, because of Mahomes' second contract, they had to get rid of some of the more high-priced guys on offense and get lower-priced guys. And, they end up with what they got. So it really gets back to guys are not developed in college, and it doesn't translate to the National Football League, okay? The rules are different between college and the National Football League, and then you got to continue to develop guys. The other thing that happens is they have this, the owners want games. That's all the thing. That's the only thing the owners care about is getting games. So they went to 17 games. We're eventually going to have 18 games, and everybody's going to play an international game. Like, back in the spring when I was in New Orleans, we used to just pray that please don't put us on one of those games. When the schedule came out, you're just hoping you weren't going to Brazil or somewhere like that. Like, I don't want to go. But eventually, everybody's going to play one because they want the money. So when they did the collective bargaining agreement, when they do the collective bargaining agreement, the players, because the only thing that the owners wanted was the extra game. Okay. Well, so the players, typical player, they wanted things a little bit easier. So what happens is through the National Players. So like, for example, at the end of the year, you get minimal time with your players in the off season. So therefore they don't really have to be there to train and work out. So they can do it on their own. Okay. Then you only get so many, what they call OTAs, which is organized team activity. No pads. It's kind of one-on-one. It's really like spring ball and shorts. And you only get a handful of those, like 10 of them. Okay, well, it's hard to get your installation in just 10 days. And then you go to August or end of July and you start training camp. Well, you're going to practice for 2 weeks. Then you start playing preseason games. So the development for not only quarterbacks, and that's the most visible thing, but it's for other positions too. You don't get a lot of time with your players in the off season.
Right.
That's like if you just look at the amount of soft tissue injuries that are in the National Football League, it goes back to their off season training. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily the strength coach's fault at the organization because players aren't allowed in your building. Okay. Much less can you really train them. They're not allowed in your building. So if they're not allowed in your building, they got to train on their own, and everybody's got their own, guy that wants to tell them how to work out. And I'm not saying those guys are bad, but it's not like working therefore, like I was looking at Washington about, I think the week that they got beat really bad by Seattle, and just the amount of soft tissue injuries they had was like double digit, and that's throughout the league. And that goes back to how you trained in the off season. And the other thing is, football is a violent sport, tough sport for tough people, and eventually you got to hit somebody. Like eventually you got to put pads on pads. You got to practice physical because your body has to train that way. You know what I'm saying? So some of it is not only the way they do things in the off season with their off season workouts and not being together, not letting the strength coach work with them and those kind of things, but you're limited in, how much contact you can have in training camp. I'm not talking about during the season. I'm talking about in training camp. And I think eventually you got to condition your body to for the season. Like you got to pound on guys. You got to hit guys. Yeah. You got to get physical. You got to get used to that. So I think that a lot of the injuries that happen today are a product of going back to when they did the bargaining agreement. The owners just wanted one extra game, and to get the extra game, they basically conceded you didn't have to work out as much, you didn't have to be in the building as much, and those kind of things. And it ends up being what it is. You know what I'm saying, from that standpoint. So, hopefully they'll get that resolved here, because the players, they're good players, man. If you watch an NFL game up front and like them dudes can run, they can hit, and even the bad, if you were to like really watch them, they're really not that bad. It's just the people around them are so elite. Right. You know what I'm saying? And and they just don't pan up. But they got to work on getting guys, you got to keep guys healthy. And rather than making it easier, they need to look at how do we get them in the building so that we can train them. So that ends up being, something got to talk about.
That 21 asked Todd, can you ask Todd why teams in college don't take advantage enough of the motion and unbalanced formations? They seem to lack creativity and don't take advantage of the rules. All right. Thanks, Thanks for the question. What do you think?
So say that. So you're talking about why the NFL teams don't do it?
No, he's saying in college football, he says, why don't more teams take advantage of motion and unbalanced formations? That's what he's asking.
Well, most colleges do have motions as far as, if you look, most teams have the receiver that goes fast. You know what I'm saying? Turbo motion and all that kind of thing. So there's a couple things there with it and it really depends upon the system. Like, I personally think there's more teams in college that use motion than, say, the National Football League. Now, I say that on third down, there's more motions in the National Football League. They're what I call man zone IDs. In other words, if you watch a game, next time you watch an NFL game, just watch on third down, like the back will be an empty. There's nobody back there, and then he motions back in the backfield. Well, if a linebacker went out to cover the guy in what we call an exchange alignment, you say, what's an exchange alignment mean? That means you have a receiver inside and a fat guy outside, meaning a tight end or a back. Okay, well, if you corner's on one and the inside defender is usually a linebacker, safety, whatever, is on two. Well, if you ever change that and have the corner on one and the fat guy, the safety, or the backer out on number one, the running back, and he motions in and he travels with him, well, you're in man. So if you watch a lot of games on in the National Football League, they'll have those kind of motions, whether they line up and empty, motion back in, or they line up and motion him out to see who's tracking him. And what they're called is man zone IDs. Okay. Well, you still see some of that in college, not as much. And then from a motion, the thing in college, you have to choose what you want to do. Meaning a lot of teams want to go fast, right? So if you go fast, you can't motion. So it's really kind of gets into what you want to be, from a college standpoint. If you're a tempo team and you're going to go fast, they're going to put the ball down, you're going to snap the ball and go play. Well, if you're going to do that, you're not going to have a lot of motions. If you want to have motions, you're going to line up, and then you're going to have to utilize the motion. And then some guys, some quarterbacks, like when I was with Peyton wanted nobody to move. Like, there was no motion in the Colts offense. Okay. And the reason is Peyton wanted to see how everybody lined up. And then from there, he would call the play and the protection with the center, because he knew, based upon how you lined up on 2x2, 3x1, the leverage of the nickel, those kind of things, he knew what coverage you're in and what you're playing. And that was one of the reasons I always went back to playing like Belichick, for example. Like Nick and Belichick are very similar in their systems, and that's why I always gravitated to that system, because if you look at the history of Peyton struggled against the Patriots for years. And it was because he could never tell the coverage pre-snap. Like, there'd be other teams, like he could tell, hey, if you had a 9 technique over here on the tight end, well, they don't blitz when there's a 9 technique there, so that means they're coming from the other side. He'd set it that way, and he'd just carve you up. But when he played New England and the balance of the 3-4 and those kind of things, he could never tell pre-snap what, and he had to make that decision post-snap. So a little bit of the question there is, some teams that want to go fast in college, you can't go fast and motion. I mean, you got to kind of pick what you want to do.
One more here, Coach. You coached a lot in the SEC. Do you have a favorite stop that your defense was able to record? You're going against the best talent in the country. Do you remember like a great stand or a great play?
So, oh yeah. So when I was,
oh yeah, he says.
So when I was at Mississippi State, they were 110th in defense. We went to 10th in the country, won 9 games, and Dan got the head job at Florida. So anyway, so I interviewed for the head coaching job, and at the time, Cohen, who's now the AD at Auburn, I interviewed, and he was all impressed. He was great, everything. And at the end of the day, he said, "Hey, look, he said, very impressed. He goes, but offensive coaches make better head coaches and defensive coaches. I said, okay, I'll make sure I tell Nick Saban that, which, this goes back to my human algorithm story. He said, well, I knew he was going to say that. He said he was already a head coach before we did the study. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have to go to Florida. I mean, we have to go to Mississippi State when I'm at Florida. And I think the score was like, I don't know, it was a 1-score game. It may have been 10-6 or something like that. And they started moving the ball. So it got the fourth, to win the game. And we called what we call mock 'em, which in our system, anytime we call a snake, DBs are blitzing, like shit's getting ready to happen, okay? And we made a call where mock us, so we came an all-out blitz, and Steiner, Donovan Steiner, our safety from Florida, came free right up through the A-gap, sacked the guy. We won the game. I think it was 10-6 or something like that. And so we returned, kicked their ass, and then went on home. So that would probably be my number one story.
Who was the offensive guy they hired? I don't remember.
Joe Moorhead.
Moorhead.
Who was a good coach. Yeah, he called me the next morning and at like 7:15 and like, hey man, I want to talk to you about staying. I'm like, I ain't staying, dude. I didn't say that like that, but I'm like, I'm all about people, you know what I'm saying? And I'd already been with Dan, and anyway, so we ended up moving on and going to Florida and living in went a residence in for like 65 days while we got a house. So yeah, my wife, my 2 kids, and our dog, man, we were in a residence in, so it was all good.
Yeah, Dan Mullen's a hell of a football coach, isn't he? He's
man. Dan and I won a lot of games together. He's a hell of a coach. He gets a little bit of a bad rap on the recruiting thing because he really says what everybody thinks. He just said it. For example, Lane Kiffin don't like to recruit either. You know what I mean? And not many of them do. It's just the way Dan said it. And the thing about Dan is Dan really wanted to coach in the National Football League. And really what happened with Dan, and people could understand this, is as a coach, like you work 12 to 13, 14 hours a day, right? And when COVID hit, you got shut down. So like, it's like, shit, I'm kind of hanging out. And then he got to see his kids play and hang out with his kids and all that. And it's kind of like, it's pretty nice. I kind of enjoy this. So then he has that whole COVID process. And then when we go back to starting to work, that's when the whole NIL transfer portal was just starting. And he knew what it was going to be like. And he wanted to get an interview in the National Football League. And the year we went to the SEC championship game, like he didn't get an interview. He didn't get a sniff. And it really kind of crushed him and kind of deflated him, kind of lost his stinger a little bit. And that's when, we actually went to the SEC championship game, got beat. And then basically he was fired the next year. And actually mid-year, he didn't make it through the whole year. So, a typical SEC kind of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Jump the gun.
Yeah.
And before we let you go, David Maber, who's been coaching the game for a long time, says what's great about this game is there's always stuff to learn. Coached 40 years in high school, picked up so much in the last 20 minutes. So thanks, Todd, he says.
Hey, as a coach, man, even me, man, as a coach, you're always looking for that edge. You're always looking, it's always evolving and everything. It's how many different ways can I play 3 deep? I can play quarters, whatever. And you're always looking, and I still do it today. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, though, it gets down to players. And you got to have players no matter what you do. And then you got to put the players in position to make plays.
Right.
The thing about nowadays is, and it wasn't any different. You guys got to figure out today what motivates the players. You know what I'm saying? Because each guy is individual in his thought process, and I got to figure out how I motivate this guy to play a team sport. And you can do it. You just got to spend time on it and get to know him. So it's all good.
John Wooden, who won 10 national titles in 12 years, he was asked, when's the last time you learned something about the game you didn't know? He goes, this morning at practice.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
you're always learning something, you know what I'm saying? And if you don't think about it and embrace it, then you're going to fall behind as a coach. So you've always got to evolve and work to learn. And at the end of the day, though, find ways to get good players. If you do that, you're going to be all right.
You're going to be okay.
That's right.
Well, great stuff, brother. We'll see how the things unfold now that we start getting back into some games, man. And thanks a lot, as always.
No problem. You guys take care.
All right, man. Good stuff. There you go. Todd Grantham. Great player, great coach. Great to have his insight, man. We appreciate that. And great stuff here today. Man, oh, man, those guys are just – you just sit there. You're just listening. You learn so much, man. You just see the game. As Todd's talking about it, you just start to visualize the game. I'm sitting there watching the Broncos-Packers game, and now I want to go back and see some of the things he's talking about, being a Broncos guy. It's great stuff, man. He's the best. He's the best. And Coach Elmo, just so good. He's got to write that book. Surgery has not happened yet, TLB. Thanks, man. Appreciate you asking. It's not quite at the pinnacle that it needs to be. I hate it because I wanted to get it taken care of, but you have to wait. You can't rush it. If it stays where it is, I think I'm just going to take him on to the vet because where it is now, it's still not easily accessible to get through like it was last time. So I'm keeping an eye. I'll let you know. Not the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and Joes. Absolutely. Good stuff. Great stuff. Tomorrow, going to be a lot of fun. Marvin, Miami, and then Coach Rags and Marty Smith in hour number 2. You don't want to miss it. Speaking of coaches and just learning so much, Marty will ask him about a formation, and we're going to learn more about the game of football in 10 minutes than we ever thought we could from Coach Rags. And then Mike Burnham. My goodness, that's your Tuesday. What a great Monday with Coach Elmassian and Todd Grantham. I mean, that's just wow. And he remembered when Coach Hicks came in. I'll never forget it. Certain things stand out. I'm a snot-nosed sophomore just in awe of the guys around me, like Todd. They were our heroes. And then Coach Hicks comes in and just the grit, I'll never forget. And TP, you remember Coach Hicks, he's always out in the sun and he kind of had that chiseled face. And he goes, I just figured out we're going to kick Salem's ass. He went up and drew some formations and talked about their tendencies. He turned on the film. Then we went out and practiced that whole thing. And sure enough, I don't think they scored. If they did, it was meaningless. And that's what it means. Those are the things that stand out, man. Just wouldn't trade it for anything. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Even the bruises that Todd Grantham gave me during the 1 year we played together. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Or you. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. As always, thanks for your support. Hope everybody had a good time today. It's fun. A lot of fun. And we'll head into tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Thanks, That. I appreciate it. Got to watch Rick play linebacker for the Cougars. Yeah, I did play with a lot of passion. I didn't have overwhelming physical skills, but I did play with a lot of passion. I did. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, bundle up, and we'll talk to you on the Tuesday edition. Don't forget, Marva, Marty and Rags, Mike Burnham. I mean, where else are you going to be on a Tuesday? Join us. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care. Stay warm, and let's get through our Monday.